This week, of course, we're hearing that communication between the legal teams of Michael Flynn and the rest of the Trump administration team has stopped. Are we able to read anything into that? Is that an indication there that we could see a deal having been made by Michael Flynn's team with Special Counsel Robert Mueller?
Yes, I think that's absolutely something we can probabilistically estimate, Miriam. So we have a certain probabilistic estimate that they were previously cooperating and now they're not. Well, what happened, right? There has to be an explanation. And the explanation most likely is that some kind of deal is made, or at least is on the table, and therefore Michael Flynn's team doesn't want to be discussing things with Donald Trump's team anymore. So that is a really realistic expectation, and we will most likely see further developments on this in the next few days.
How significant then is that particular development, particularly when it comes to those questions, the clouds still remaining on the broader Trump administration?
Yes, so I think this is really significant. We have to be thinking about, well, what is the Trump administration doing right now? It's trying to push through a major tax overhaul here in the United States. It's trying to get it through Congress and so on. And this is a major distraction. It has to be worried now what's going on with Michael Flynn and how that will impact its policy. So that will really shake up the Trump administration's approach. They don't know if their backs are secure now. Previously, Michael Flynn was a secure person that Trump could count on. Now he's not sure that Michael Flynn is loyal. So this is a major, major problem for Trump right now.
And in terms of just the way that this process has all unfolded, if we even step back as far as the 2016 election campaign, we have heard talk that we've entered a new post-truth era, reports around fake news. This is something that you clearly have been focusing your attention on with the work that you do in terms of truth seeking. Is that part of what's happening here at the moment, where it's difficult to actually read into reports and stories, given the way that the public is now developing mistrust around the way that's presented?
Yes, so this is a really important development. There are many people who just don't trust the mainstream media anymore, in part because of Donald Trump's attack on the mainstream media. So we can see trust among Republicans in the mainstream media has fallen by over half from 2015 to 2016. By over half. It remained stable from 2004 to 2015 and then fell by over half. So this trust in mainstream media is a problem, that reporters are not trusted anymore. So many Republicans are not trusting the New York Times when it reports on Michael Flynn's potential cooperation with Mueller. They're not trusting the idea that Donald Trump might have colluded with Russia. And in general, there are polls showing that Donald Trump is seen by his supporters as above reproach by the mainstream media. And this is a huge problem in American society, where we are approaching what Oxford Dictionary defined as post-truth politics. It chose that word as its word of the year for 2016 to indicate the situation that's happening in the United States and the UK, where people are not trusting the mainstream media anymore, and they're trusting personal intuitions and gut reactions and emotions over facts.
Are we seeing that now more broadly in terms of US politics? I'm thinking in particular of the situation involving the US Senate candidate for Alabama, Roy Moore, who has certain allegations being laid at his feet, and he is yet another one to accuse those media reports of being fake news.
Yes, so Roy Moore, to be clear, there was the Washington Post investigation which independently found 4 women who accused Roy Moore of having sexual and romantic relations with them when they were underage. Roy Moore denied that, and he called the Washington Post fake news for doing that. The Washington Post is highly credible, a very credible newspaper, Miriam, here in the United States. And many Republicans have actually turned away from Roy Moore for saying that. So the second most powerful Republican in the United States, Mitch McConnell, the Senate Majority Leader, has called on Roy Moore to withdraw. Speaker of the House Paul Ryan has called on Roy Moore to withdraw. But the Trump wing of the Republicans, including Donald Trump and Stephen Bannon and so on, are standing behind Roy Moore. So this is not a partisan issue. This is an issue within the Republican Party where there are Republicans, some Republicans who belong more to the Trump wing of the party, are systematically accusing the media of being fake news when the media reports stories unfavorable to them. Another example is the Republican governor of Kentucky, Matt Bevin, who was accused of corruption and bribery, and he attacked the reporters who did that as being fake news. So this fake news, the label of fake news, is providing a cover for corruption, abuse of power, and various forms of bribery for a certain subset of Republicans and some Democrats. So Harvey Weinstein, who was a prominent Democrat, also accused the New York Times of being fake news when they published allegations about his sexual abuse.
Indeed, it is rather a startling development that we're seeing there. Dr. Gleb Zipursky, thank you very much for speaking to us from Ohio.
Thank you so much for having me on, Miriam.